In Series 2, Episode 8, we are privileged to have our next guest, Hani Weiss. Hani has spent over 23 years at Majid Futtaim, having a number of different roles, including his most recent role as the CEO of Majid Futtaim Retail, which included Carrefour. We are looking forward to speaking with Hani on a number of topics, including digital transformation, the e-commerce landscape here in the region, and all things leadership. Hani, welcome. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me. I feel great. Actually, I'm really in my best.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And we've been talking about this for a few months. I've been really looking forward to this because last time we caught up, you really triggered a few things about how I see the market here in the region. So I thought I have to get you on and start talking about your career. So let me start. Your career has been remarkable in this region. Mashallah, it's been fantastic, right? So can you pinpoint certain moments or pivotal moments in your career that have sort of shaped where you got to and where you are today?
Thank you for having me again. You made it and you brought me to the podcast. I started as a trainee section manager in Majid Futtaim Retail, Carrefour, back in 2001. And at that time, I did not know exactly, the word of retail, grocery. It was something very new to me. And I started by discovering the word of grocery retail, which fortunately I'm in love with. And I'm so passionate about this business. Now, the story started, like every young student, fresh graduated, wanting to, conquer the whole world. And I started to, be trained, go from one store to another, from one country to another, and exposed to too many experiences, great people, great leaders, but also bad leaders that I have learned a lot from them. And this, we need another podcast probably for that. Now, the thing is that I had something unique at the time, which is always asking questions and never taking anything for granted. Mm-hmm. And I think this is what, at the time, differentiates me from other people, were at the same time with me as a trainee. And I grew up through the ladder, gradually, step by step, from one place to another, until one day I found myself to be the CEO of the biggest grocery retail in the region. Yeah. So this is the story in a nutshell. But what made it really unique is that I was the only and the first CEO who came really from the bottom of the organization.
Absolutely.
And this was, in the world of talents and, bringing people around you, this was sort of celebration for the Majid Futtaim retail team, who've always dreamt to see someone from within coming, to lead this business. But it put a lot of challenges on me personally because, I wanted to prove that I deserve this position. Yeah. So it was very, very hard for me, because I was working double and triple, doing the efforts to make sure that, I deserve this place. So this is the story in a nutshell. And, I'm looking forward to share more details of the discussion.
When did you know? When did it become clear to you that whether it was 5 years or 10 years into your journey with Majid Futtaim that you thought, what? There's a clear career path there. I could become the CEO.
Yeah.
Like, when was that moment for you?
I'll tell you a secret, which I hope it will stay only between us.
No one's watching that.
No, but honestly, I did not imagine myself to become the CEO. This is a real story, true story, that I was always, in the store operation, felt in love with the store because, this is where the power lies. The people are behind the success of the store from the early morning, 3 a.m. when they, open to receive the goods in the store, fill in the shelves with these, goods for the customers, start the baking, cleaning the shelves, bring in the fresh fish into the, the fishery, and et cetera, et cetera. This is, this is really retail. Yeah. And, things were extremely nice, and adrenaline was up to the maximum, running the store operation. And then I got into the opportunity to move to Egypt for some time. Yeah. And this sometime lasts for 8 years, by the way. They told me it's going to be 1 to 2 years. It lasted for 8 years. Wow. And this is where I start to be interacted more and more into the operation. all the way to be the CFO of the country at that time.
Yeah.
But growth was always, something unique for Majid Futtaim, because when I joined the company, we had only 5 stores back in 2001. And now I left the company with 555 stores.
Insane.
So you can imagine, the opportunities that this company have created to me, but to many other people around us, and are still working at the company. When I came back to Dubai, I was the CFO of Majid Futtaim Retail.
Yeah.
I had great experience, enjoyed my job as a CFO, had the largest acquisition in the region, in the grocery retail.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, there was a change in the CEO position, and I got a wonderful CEO who have taught me a lot and helped me, and really adopted me and make sure that I know everything about the operation and be ready, to succeed him one day. But this day came much faster than he and I expected that day to come. This is where I start to realize maybe I will have the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I wasn't entirely sure that whether MAF and Majid Futtaim company would be really open to, promote the first CEO from within and someone from the region,
of course.
and not really a real expatriates coming from abroad. And this was the major challenge that I have accepted and, took on the challenge. But really, until the announcement, I wasn't sure if I was, going to be the CEO of Majid Futtaim Retail.
What do you think would be the biggest difference between a internal grown from within CEO promoted to that role, as opposed to a headhunt from abroad and brought into the organization as an external person? What are the biggest key differentiators from having one or the other?
This is a great question, because I think majority of the companies are struggling between importing talents or grooming talents from within.
Yeah.
For Majid Futtaim and for our founder, God bless his soul, he always believed that talent should be groomed from within and should be given the opportunity to take a leadership position, because they care more. They are from the region, so they care about the region. They care about the business. And this was his philosophy. And he always said that, what's important is the capital, the assets, but also the human capital. That's why we changed the naming of human resources to human capital, because we truly believe that talents is key for everything we do. So from that perspective, grooming talents from within, but giving them the opportunity to be, in touch with the whole world. So I wasn't someone that groomed from the organization or came from within and I just, do stuff from within. But I was always exposed to the international world, traveled the whole world, literally, visited every retailer from Japan to USA to Canada, to Europe, etc. So I had so many interactions for me at a leadership level to be able to take on this very difficult, position. Now, the thing is that from within, you will have someone who understands the people, the culture, which is extremely important. We're working here with people. The retail business is all about people. I managed, a team of 38,000 colleagues. You need to motivate them every day. You need to communicate clearly to them, and you need to feel for them. And, believe it or not, in the 17 countries that I managed, I knew people by name and sometimes their families also. And this is what matters when you bring someone from within. They bring this connection, this human interaction that make it very unique for the people. So they really kill themselves to make sure that they're working for the organization and the leader that they like. Nonetheless, bringing someone from outside is not something also bad, because you bring fresh experience, fresh pair of eyes. But for every moment, organization will do the right, balance, whether they need to import talents or groom talents from within and make sure they have enough in the pipeline for the people to come from within. I can tell you, the day I was announced as a CEO, I think it was sort of Indian wedding in the organization. People were
well received,
celebrating 4 weeks.
That's brilliant.
People, came to the first town hall, hugged me, kissed me, literally tears.
That's awesome.
They were full of tears, emotional, because they felt it's something for them. They felt that this company is great because, really they walk the talk when it comes to groom talents
of course,
and bring them all the way to the top.
How did you feel when you got that reception, when you got that sort of response from the team?
But before I mention that, I want to tell you the impact on the culture, because that year itself, we moved on the OHI from fourth quartile to top quartile organization and continued to be top quartile until last year. This is an amazing impact on the people and the culture. What it meant to me personally, I was so emotional also. Yeah. I did not believe that even people that I didn't work with directly, they were celebrating, clapping, happy, applauding. Really, you can feel the joy in their eyes. You can feel the emotional messages. Of course, that day I was fulfilled with a lot of love, great emotions.
It's like goosebumps.
Absolutely, because this is how I felt that I have a now even bigger responsibility to make sure that I'm up to the level to those people who believed in me and felt that, this is how the company should grow and people will have the opportunity. Now, of course, until this moment, I'm still grateful to the late owner, Mr. Majid Futtaim, God bless his soul, because he also believed in the talents and the local talents, especially here from the region. He always believed that if you build the right talents, you'll have always the best productivity, best culture, and best organization.
100%. Yeah. Brilliant. Let's talk about e-commerce, and let's talk about how it's evolved over the years in this part of the world. And, in my experience, I sit in a very privileged seat. I say this in almost every episode with every guest. I get access to a lot of people, to a lot of organizations, and I see the good and I see the bad and the do's and don'ts when it comes to the sort of technology space, and e-commerce being a huge part of that.
Yeah.
I don't believe personally that we are anywhere near what we should be when it comes to the e-commerce landscape, in how we should be operating and how big that we could potentially be in this part of the world. But I remember the days when Carrefour were going through the whole sort of going online and the e-commerce, and I remember that transition, and it wasn't as seamless to begin with, right? And you were driving that sort of change. How difficult was it to get a large business, what it was, and take it online and drive it towards that online sort of presence to make it what it is today?
This is amazing question, because I can talk for hours now about this and then we can end the podcast here.
Yeah.
It is a wow journey. I can tell you, I still remember every moment of it. This is really my baby. I think I'm labeled with, the online transformation at Majid Futtaim Retail and Carrefour with my team. But I can tell you that my predecessor was there when we started to talk about the online. And he asked me to do him a favor, which is to say, no, we shouldn't go online.
Wow.
Because it was that difficult for any CEO to take on this challenge. And when I took over back in October 2017, I started really to think how we can drive this transformation for the business, because it's not about building an online business.
No.
It's about transforming the way we do business. And this is the beauty of having an online, side by side with brick and mortar organization. So it was very, very hard journey. I can tell you that it was one of the most difficult in my life, but I literally enjoyed every moment of it. The way I've started this business is that we recruited the right team for it, and we put it sort of a vertical beside the brick and mortar organization, because at the time I felt that the people will always resist, because it's very difficult, it's new, it needs a different caliber, different challenges, and it will also trigger a question on the people that, shall we start doing things differently and, in more productive way? And this is what we've done. The journey was extremely, extremely difficult. We had the opportunity to buy and acquire a large business here, but finally we did not do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't regret it, by the way.
Yeah.
And we started everything from scratch. With a team, we built a business today, which is, represent a large chunk of the business of Majid Futtaim Retail, profitable in only 3.5 years. It has a positive NPS more than 37, 38, which is really fantastic for this kind of a business. And I have to tell you that every day and every minute, it was sort of new learnings, because we never did it. And we were trying to tailor this online business and e-com into our operation, which was also very hard because some of our processes were very old. And we needed to challenge the way we do supply chain, logistics, import, planogram in the store, productivity in the store. And we started by saying that online is different than the brick and mortar. We cannot have the profitability and this. To a moment, we started even doubting whether we will be succeeding in this business or not. Until when Corona hit us and hit us very, very bad, as you know. So there was a responsibility on us to feed people, much more than only building a business. This was the moment that was really a turning point in the journey of the e-com business, because we had to go and work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We built a tent as a fulfillment centers to be able to deliver more to the customers. We fulfilled majority of the orders, but unfortunately, the experience was very much broken because everything was new and was, as we go, we were fixing and trying to learn something new. But post-COVID, we came much, much more stronger than ever. And what we wanted to do in, let's say, 5 years was done literally in 5 months, which was a turning point from that point of view. We started to work on the experiences, but more importantly is to engage with the brick and mortar organization to embody the online and bring it to be an omni-channel business.
How difficult is that? Because there is an e-com business that is just an e-com. And then there's an e-com, what you're talking about, which is alongside a bricks and mortar. How difficult is that compared to the former? When you're doing it alongside an already existing traditional business that's standing there, and then you're creating this digital version of what's already existing.
Absolutely. This was extremely challenging and difficult because you are telling the team to start letting go part of their sales to go online. They felt, it's sort of cannibalizing their own business. They felt that the sales is going to someone else. So in order for me to make sure that I rally behind me 38,000 colleagues, I had to change the way we look at the businesses. And we created a virtual P&L for the online. And we told the brick and mortar organization, every single sales will go online, will go to your stores. So you'll benefit from the sales without taking any cost at that time. And they start to be very much encouraged because they felt, okay, if customers now bought online, doesn't matter if it is online or offline, the sales will come into our stores.
Exactly.
And so slowly we put, incentive plan. We start to engage with the team and tell them why we are doing that and move the brick and mortar organization to run the online operation and vice versa, taking few people from the online business and put them in the brick and mortar in the stores so that we start to change the culture of the organization. Because like every change, we are a human being. We resist every change by nature. Correct? And in order to break that, you need to mix the team together. We make sure that the incentives are common for the online and the brick and mortar. So at a time, for 2 years, I kept the incentive plan for the omni-channel data. So whether sales and profitability, because I wanted both teams to work together very, very closely. To a place where now and this year, we have a box. We don't have any more online business and we have offline business. We have a box, and this box, deliver on the target, whether online, offline, supply chain, B2B, etc. It's all happening in one box. And believe it or not, we had 2 different teams. We had team for the online business and team for the store. Nowadays, we have one team, and this team is, fulfilling the orders, whether online and offline. Now, as part of the transformation, I could not have also succeeded in this transformation without having the executive team, working side by side with me.
So let me touch on that for a second, because the transformation side for me is quite interesting. So I moved from a country that was far more advanced when it comes to digital transformation than this part of the world was.
Correct.
And when I moved here in 2015, I was expecting to be a part of this wave of digital transformation that kind of came more of a bit of a ripple more than a big wave, right? It just stagnated, and it was quite disappointing. I ran a roundtable with 15 senior executives that were either CIOs or chief digital officers from prominent businesses, and this was in 2017. And I left that room quite alarmed with the lack of understanding of what digital transformation means and means to their business. They all had a different understanding and meaning of what it means to them. Some of them, more than half of them, had a meaning, or they related it back to just digitizing what you do.
Correct.
Which is so basic in its foundation, right? And I walked out there thinking, we're not going to get there because these are prominent business leaders from prominent brands in this part of the world. And I was amazed by the lack of understanding on digital transformation.
True.
Now, you work for arguably one of the largest businesses in the region, right? And you're going through a digital transformation while still keeping your current existing business. Now you just mentioned the executive team being crucial to that success.
True.
So tell me, like, how were they involved and how did they help you drive that? Because I couldn't see that from 2017 onwards.
You are absolutely right. I think like the AI now, people, use AI a lot, but not knowing exactly how AI is going to impact their business. And there is a bit of fear. Like IT in the past, we moved from IT to, digital, online, omni-channel, now AI. So every phase has a different, unique challenge. But let me tell you one thing. At Majid Futtaim, we created, in the Leadership Institute, we created the school for technology. And we wanted to train everyone, the entire organization, on how digital and online is going to impact the business. For instance, we told our colleagues at the front line, the cashiers, it's very crucial for you every time a customer pays at the cash counter to ask for the loyalty and register the loyalty, because what you are doing now is you are helping us to create personalization for that customer or this customer, etc., etc. So we bring it in very, very basic way for them to understand what is the role of each person in the organization. Because if you start to talk about transformation or digital or digitizing businesses or transforming businesses, but not bringing the team in and letting them know at each level what is their level of engagement from that journey, they will never engage and they will never help you. So we had to do it at a level of almost 100 feet, all the way to 38,000 feet, journey, is that to tell every level of the organization what they have to do in this journey. And this is the key of the success of the business. Beside that, what made it really unique is that we went from silos, because, usually people like to create their own safety zone, their own environment. This is my department. This is my business. Don't interfere and whatever.
Human nature,
It's a human nature to sort of squad, bringing digital, marketing, operation, commercial, human resources, or human capital, finance together in a squad. And the leader of the squad is the final decision maker on that journey. And this, this idea or this transformation, I would say, have helped us a lot to bridge all the, what we needed to do, open the doors, because people were directly involved and they were on the making. Now, what's also interesting is we created Innovation Hub, and we asked our team to bring few of their data engineers and place them in the store. So they were testing new features in the app, in the store, going to the customer, giving them a gift voucher and say, please, are you interested to try on this new feature? And get the customer feedback immediately on spot in the store, take all the feedback, register it, work overnight to get it fixed, and then correct it for the next day. You cannot have a better way of engaging with customers and with our people directly in the store, where everything is happening really live, and change everything on the spot. And this is what made this journey very unique. Again, bringing the team together, making sure they're aligned on the incentive, making sure that they understand where are we going, and making sure that the sky is the limit. We should not stop. To that point, it wasn't about, again, online or omnichannel, but it was how we also transform our businesses. So we started also to transform the experiences in the store. I think I mentioned to you last time is that when we created the valet service option, it was an aha moment for a lot of people, because a lot of people said why customers would come to the store and then they asked for their goods to be delivered. Because we said, there is no trust. To your point, in 2017, there was a lack of trust. Can I put my credit card online? Do I think they will deliver for me the right fresh products? Are they giving me probably all the rotten products or expired, etc.? The lack of trust wasn't there.
Absolutely.
So to bridge that, we created the value trolley, whereby customers would come to the store, they do their own shopping, touch the tomato, cucumbers, everything they like. They put them at the cash counter, and we do delivery within a span of 2 hours and deliver it to their doorsteps. This halfway through bridged the gap between us and the customers in terms of trust, because we send them in a chilled ambient vans. They see it, they verify, etc., etc., to a place where we bring in the mobile scan and go. Especially it helped us a lot during COVID time, when people were, didn't want to touch anything in the store. They were very much afraid. So the team adjusted the scan and go to mobile scan and go. And then on your own device, you can scan products from Carrefour shelves, pay and leave. And this was the moment when the customers started to feel there is a major transformation happening at Carrefour stores.
Amazing. Let's touch on the people side, because you brought it up earlier on in the episode. How important it is to find the right people. You're a product of great career development and career pathways in an organization. How much do you value the humans that you actually do bring into the organization, or you bring through the ranks?
The business, like any other business, is all about people. Again, I'm coming back. This is my formula for success, which is work with the right people, engage them, bring them together with you. You will be always winning whatever is you are working on. So from moment D, because I started from the bottom, so I do understand sometimes the frustration of the people, blue collars, etc. We created for them multiple levels for them to be able to get promoted, but also to learn throughout their career. So created many schools beside the traditional schools, like School of Bakery, School of Fishery, etc., etc. Those are the professional schools. But we created also an employee career evolution program, whereby every single employee can go to this program, registered, and start to work on their next step in their careers.
See, this is amazing. I mean, I've struggled with this process, or this part of the process, for a very, very long time. We spend, as external partners, and our clients spend so much time in identifying and attracting the right talent to their business.
Correct.
So much time. They go through so much of a process to be able to pinpoint who they want and then how they bring them into their business. And it's almost like when that part of the process is done, they can wash their hands and say, okay, well then it'll be okay. And then hearing you talk about all these things that they're building and they're developing internally to be able to create these sort of pathways and this development for the staff that are in there. I mean, my question is, why can't everyone do this? How difficult is it internally to be able to build these things, these structures in place to give everyone the opportunity to grow and develop and then stay in those businesses?
I fully agree with you. I think 50% goes on the recruitment, to your point, get the right talents on board, etc. And the other 50% is to make sure to retain them. And you can't retain them just by putting them on job, on giving them the job, and that's it. You need to make sure that they have a clear career path. Now, because also of my story, I was always welcoming the new joiners to the Majid Futtaim group in general. And I was always telling everyone that you will have a great career opportunity in Majid Futtaim, but I don't promise every one of you will become a CEO, because there is only one CEO. So to come back on that, so we created at multiple levels sort of programs to help the people to get promoted. And we widened also the salary structure. Because again, we were very much on the salary structure of grades and what have you. We made it very, very wide, so people will feel they are getting promoted within the grade. There are levels now, and they dream to go to the next level and next level and next level. But I also, throughout my monthly update to the entire organization, opened it up to the team to say, if you are not happy in what you're doing, then go to your human capital partner and ask them what you like to do in the organization. To a point that One day, a lady went to a country manager and I said, I'm a data entry clerk. I want to become a pastry chef. And the country manager said, but you cannot do that. She said, the CEO said, if you are not happy, you cannot change. So you have to give her the opportunity.
Yeah.
And because of her passion about being a chef, she used to go every day at home, bake, multiple different recipes of cake, desserts, and what have you, and come and serve the customers, and never sat behind the counter, but at the front, and telling the customers, would you taste my recipe? The results is that in less than 2 weeks, the section did a growth of 55%.
Wow.
And this lady, until this moment, is becoming the shining star when it comes to the best example of people who are passionate about what they do.
Yeah.
So you can do many programs, but you also need to ask the employees what they like to do.
Yeah, of course.
They need to be happy in what they're doing, so they deliver to the maximum. Now, when it comes to middle organization, this is where sometimes we see a struggle in majority of the organization because people are in the middle. They can't move quickly to senior level. We created another program for them where we deal with issues from around all our 17 countries. And we tell them, you are the owners now. Tell us, in your opinions, and work as a group, how we sort out an issue in Pakistan, in Egypt, in Armenia, in the UAE, in Qatar, in this. So they are not restricted to their stores or their country, what have you, but they suddenly got an exposure over the countries that we were operating in and solving a problem for the organization. So the level of satisfaction and engagement, but also the learning is beyond any expectations because they would have a senior leader supporting this program all the way till the end. They come, they present to the executive committee, and the winners also, beside implementing the ideas, they get financially rewarded. So you can always create a lot of programs to keep on motivating people, but also engaging them, throughout the journey. Otherwise, you lose majority of the great talents.
This all screams strong leadership, okay? And you touched on earlier on in your intro that you had the privilege to work with some amazing leaders and some not so good ones, but you learn a lot from both.
Absolutely.
Right? And everything that you're talking about around the foundations of the business, the people and culture side and the career pathways, all this clarity around where you can go and what you can become in an organization are just absolutely fantastic. But it comes from the top, and everything comes from the top. And every time I work with a leader to try and help them sort of become better leaders throughout my career, I get pushed back based on, can leaders learn how to become good leaders, or is it a natural, born given sort of a skill set? And I believe everyone can learn that. It may not be a natural inclination towards it, but you can learn the sort of soft skills and the key skills to become a very strong leader. Are there particular individuals throughout your career that you just rely on based on their wisdom, based on their guidance throughout, and that you say, without them, I wouldn't be here today?
Absolutely. I mean, every single moment of success belongs to the team. I can claim nothing, honestly. It's all because of the team. Now, and I'm not saying, a cliche word or this. This is something I really genuinely believe in. And people would always, characterize me as a people man. So approachable to every level in the organization, to a point that people were telling me that they dream in the morning to come with me in the elevator, because in the 5 to 10, 20 seconds that they spend with me, I would ask them, what was the project that you are working on? How's your kids, etc., etc. And they feel that they are over the moon.
Yeah.
So the thing is that if you care really genuinely about the people, they will care also about you and about your business. But throughout my careers, I have learned a lot. I mean, there are some not bad people, but probably less motivated people to do the job exactly the way you want them to do. You help them, you support them, and you make sure that they come along this journey with you.
Everyone can be a superstar, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think, back to your question, I think there are some people who are naturally leaders. Some people, they are naturally, they love the people and they show it very genuinely, honestly. But everyone can learn that. Everyone can learn it has to start by the education, the values, etc., and the way you discuss with the people. I always believe that, having an open door policy will help a lot because you will be able to talk to the people. What I have done throughout my career is that I made sure that every time I visit country, I visit the stores and I meet with the frontliners without their managers.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to tell them that I'm very close to them and they are close to me. They can tell whatever they want in their mind without complaining about their managers. Because this wasn't a complaining session, but was feedback, giving me feedback, giving the organization feedback, giving me feedback about the leadership team and can we do better to make their life better in order for them, to be a better employees in the organization. Yeah. I think this is really a key turning point where I think leaders need to give more importance to the entry-level organization, middle management, to engage them in the whole process.
Do you think the leadership side was ingrained in you from a very young age? I can speak personally. I'll share a story. I'm one of 4 children, the youngest. So growing up, I had the softest voice in the house because I was the young one. So just sit there and pretty much shut up and don't say anything because the other 3 are speaking, right? So didn't really find my voice until sort of early teens. But what I found that at, I think, 12 or 13, I always put my hand up to be the captain in the football team. I always wanted to speak in the classroom to sort of, be the class captain or whatever it may be, sort of thing. Always felt that natural inclination towards doing that. And even in the corporate world, that whenever there was an opportunity to become a team lead or a manager or of a branch or anything like that, that was where I believed I saw myself. It was a natural thing, but it came from an upbringing where I wasn't seen or wasn't heard. Yeah. And now there are a couple of people in this room who work in the business that I work with, and they would say that I'm probably heard too much. Like my voice is just so loud because I am that sort of personality in a business. But I believe it's naturally ingrained in me that way, to believe that way. But I also see leadership being a privilege that I shouldn't take it for granted because with that responsibility and people's careers and their lives in my hands, I need to sort of take that really seriously. Was it the same for you? Like growing up, did you think leadership, business, all that sort of stuff was something that you were going to go towards?
I'll share my example with you. Yeah. I think, I'll give you a secret.
I love these secrets on this podcast that no one watches, by the way. It's fantastic.
I was very much an introvert person.
Okay.
Very much. I had this fear of speaking publicly to people and this.
This is the man who managed 38,000 people. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. However, when I was a kid, I was always in the Scout.
Yeah.
And I spent almost 13 years of my life in the Scout and playing basketball.
Okay.
And I always wanting to lead a team.
Yeah.
And for a reason, every time I was leading a team.
Yeah.
They was like, okay, Hani, you are probably the most wise and this. Can you lead a team and a group of 2-3 people and, make sure you deliver? And we always delivered. So it was something that I kept from, the childhood when I was a little kid, taking on responsibilities.
Did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I felt that I was happy because we were succeeding, we're delivering on results, and it kept with me. But I did not want always to jump on the opportunity and show that, yes, I can do it. However, things used to come to me, and I used to take on challenges that no one else, probably raises the hand to say, I'll take on this challenge. And this is how things evolved with me over years and years. The other thing is that I do things very naturally, which is I care really about people. But I care probably too much. And this was very much seen by the people. So it created sort of, if you want, people would be very open to talk to me. People would be very open to hear me talking to them and, sharing with them stories and being very transparent, open, genuine about them and about everything I tell them. So we created this connection that have helped me to become a better leader over the years. I wasn't the same person, when I started my career, but the turning point is that when we made the acquisition and suddenly I had to integrate probably around 2,000 people into the organization and change culture, and I had to do that in less than 5 months, it was the moment where I wanted really to show my leadership and, go all the way.
Yeah.
But since then, I kept on evolving year after year, month after month, and I have learned a lot. I have to tell you that you learn from the best. You look at the best leaders around you. I had the chance to be part of the World Economic Forum, part of the Consumer Goods Forum, World Retail Congress. I traveled the world, and I have met with the best leaders from around the world. And I have learned a lot from them. I have learned also from bad experiences, which is not,
I was going to say that as well.
Do, because this is very important. Learning from the best is great, but also you need to learn from few bad managers. And we all know that we have bad managers. Whether they're choosing to be bad or they are, for good reasons or bad reasons, I have no idea. Every one of us has his own story.
Yeah.
But sometimes the action shows different thing. And you have to learn from them not to repeat the same mistakes.
It's not only bad managers, it's sort of failures. It's your own failures. Like I think back, my first leadership role in recruitment was in 2006-07. We were that bad, we shut down the branch.
Yeah.
That was under my remit.
Yeah.
Like that was a huge failure that till this day, and I've mentioned it like a few times, there's some cringeworthy moments in my early leadership years where I was thinking, what was I doing? Like, why would I choose to do that with the team, with the business, the direction, the sort of sales focus that we had? It was just cringeworthy, just horrible.
Correct.
But those mistakes, like they shaped me so much in what not to do. They're almost as important, if not more important to me than the successes that I've been privileged to have in my career, because the failures have really taught me how hard it is, what not to do, and probably the most important thing is how to pick yourself up and how to hold yourself in a moment. And you mentioned that when leadership is about the people, is about the team. And one of the books, Good to Great, talks about how when it's great, the CEO or the leader should not be seen.
Correct.
Right? And when it's bad, the only person who should be seen is the leader of that organization or that sporting team, whatever it may be, because they front up.
Absolutely.
The same thing for football teams who are struggling. The captain comes first.
Correct.
To the press conference.
Correct.
Or the manager.
Absolutely.
You don't see the other regular players out there fronting up to the media, because the leadership has to come from when things are bad and they are asking so many questions about why you're underperforming. That's what real leadership is.
Absolutely.
And the ones who shy away from that, then obviously they're not demonstrating those capabilities or those qualities.
Absolutely. I fully agree with you. I think, even the bad experiences leave marks in you. And those marks that you always remember and you learn a lot from them, and I have many failures throughout my career, by the way, and I've learned a lot from them, whether, dealing with people, whether starting something new business, new verticals, or banking on or betting on few things that probably didn't happen at the time. And we learn a lot as a leaders. What's important, I think, is that to get over the failure, learn from them and make sure not to repeat them.
Yeah.
And this is what I was trying to instill in my organization, which is I want to encourage every one of us to do mistakes and to announce that we do mistakes, because we're a human being. Mm-hmm. We'll definitely do a lot of mistakes.
100%.
We'll have to be aware of those mistakes, share them openly with definitely the people that we trust, and learn from them. That's why I kept always, a sounding board for me, which is a mentor that I see, I talk to, I also seek advice, but I also played this role to many of my team members without wearing the hat of a CEO, but just a colleague that they can trust. They can share what's on top of their mind. They can come to me at any time to share, experiences. Because this is the only way, where you can build also trust. And again, I would mark and put, a lot of underlines on the word trust, because it is the key of any success for any leader.
Amazing. A couple more questions before we finish up. The digital landscape at the moment, how do you see it looking or transforming over the next sort of 12 months, 24 months?
I will come back to what you said initially back in 2017. The gap between the Middle East and Europe and the rest of the world was a huge, huge gap. And at that time, only fashion retail was going online and going over the roof. And people never thought that food will go and will succeed online.
Yeah.
Today, in the region, the online penetration for grocery varies from 8 to 15%, where Carrefour is leading on that front. And this is the average from around the globe, to the exception of 1 or 2 countries. The average is between 12 to 15. So we are on the average of, the entire world when it comes to grocery penetration. However, what is unique, if you look at the UK market today, you see that the number of online orders are dropping drastically because of the current economical situation, people wanting to save money. So they came into realization that they needed to go back to the stores, choose the best value, the offer, the promotions that they don't probably see online.
Yeah.
While in our part of the world, the online business is still growing at double digits. And I think it will continue to grow and outperform Europe and the rest of the world. This is my bet. And if you want, in 2 years, 3 years from now, with, while we're doing another podcast, we're gonna...
Well, with my colleague Lisa takes over this
absolutely.
podcast.
I'm looking forward. I think she promised me, to be her guest.
She promised you, yeah. So we'll hold her to that. One last one. It's a cheesy one, but we have to ask this one, right? So, looking back to who you were, say, 20 years ago, and the remarkable career that you had today, if you had to go back and talk to yourself 20 years ago, what advice would you give yourself in relation to your career, in relation to leadership?
Correct. I think there are many advices, but I will start with what I believe in, which is the most important point for any leader and for myself is to remember myself always not to become, with the very level high of ego, or delete this ego word completely from the dictionary, because the more you grow up in the organization, the more you should become humble. So being humble is my number one advice. And this is what I used to do every day morning, to say that this chair is not for me. This office is not for me. This place, I'm here only an employee to make sure that we succeeded in this mission for this period.
Yeah.
And this is the key of success for any leader. I think leaders should remind themselves that, it's all about leadership, and they cast this shadow of leadership to their employees. So they need to walk the talk when it comes to being humble, and there is no ego at all in their dictionary.
Yeah.
This is number one. Number two is taking care of their own people.
Yeah.
Never claim success or get credit for any, big successes in the organization, but to credit always the team.
Yeah.
And make sure that they get the blame, they get the failures, they step up to say that, yes, it was my decision, and defend their team, because this is the only way where you can rally the team behind you and believe that, they are in the right place with the right leader. Third is to make sure that when you come early morning to the office, is to leave behind you all the things that you cannot control, whether the traffic or whatever is happening at home with your wife, with the kids, and what have you. Our colleagues and our employees has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
They only want to see the motivated leader, the one who's cheering up, to a point that my team brought me a sign, with positive vibes. They put it on the front of my office, because they felt that if they want to get energy, they can come and see me in the morning to make sure that their day is fulfilled with energy and love and what have you.
Love that.
Because, at the end, this was my role, is to motivate the team.
Yeah.
I can't do their job.
Yeah.
They are the experts. They are the ones who knows everything in their domain.
Yeah.
All what I needed to do is to make sure to motivate them, give them the right clarity, the right communication, and tell them, go ahead. If you fail, it's my failure. If we succeed, this is your success.
Amazing.
And the team success. So again, making sure that the team, are engaged, encouraged, and this would be the advice also that I will give to myself and every leader. Last but not least, which is the ability to learn and relearn every single day. And this is something that kept me always on my toes, never felt bored, because managing, 38,000 colleagues, 17 countries, 555 stores, I was never bored. And every day was like new learning for me. And I felt extremely excited, because every day that passes without us as a human being learning something new is just a lost day.
Yeah.
And I hate to lose.
Yeah.
So I made sure that I remind myself that I had to learn something new, even from the smallest employee in the organization, because you can learn from anyone.
Absolutely.
And it's not restricted to, certain level of people. But I also reminded my team is to have this open mind to learn from their people and the broader organization.
Amazing. My little secret that I'm going to share now is that for someone who doesn't like podcasts, you have absolutely nailed this episode. So I'm thanking you so much for coming on board today. This has been a very enjoyable episode. Can't wait for this to go live in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you so much, Hani. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.